Elena had a calm temperament from childhood and a tendency for order. In school, Elena was an excellent student. All the teachers praised her unanimously and held her up as an example. After school, Elena independently entered college, and then chose a profession that interested her. Elena's parents transferred a 2-room apartment they inherited from their grandmother into their daughter's name. One day, Elena met a guy through friends, and they started dating. She liked him, and he liked her too. 6 months later, Yuri proposed. She was a bit apprehensive about meeting his mother, but the thought of not living in the same apartment with her mother-in-law reassured her. Elena aced the meeting with Yuri's mother. She bought flowers and baked a delicious pie. She skillfully engaged in conversation during the visit. It was evident from the expression on her future mother-in-law's face that she was quite pleased with the younger son's fiancé. To Elena's surprise, Yuri's mother was very interested in where her son would live, how many rooms were in Elena's apartment, and who owned the apartment. A month later, they got married, and Yuri moved in with Elena. On the second week of their life together, Yuri's mother visited them. "Oh, I just happened to pass by, so I thought I'd drop in and see how you're doing." "Where's Yuri?" "Still at work?" "Oh, you shouldn't overwork your husband, you won't earn all the money in the world." Elena remained silent. She went to the kitchen, put on the kettle, and set out cookies and candies. Yuri's mother didn't bring anything with her. "I see you only use this room to watch TV." "We don't even watch TV, we're at work from morning till night. This room is simply a living room." "So, you don't use the second room at all?" "I see," said the mother-in-law thoughtfully as she appeared in the kitchen. "And your kitchen is very spacious. There's even room for a sofa and TV. Let's have some tea." From that evening on, Madame Olga began to visit the young couple frequently. New Year's Eve was approaching. "Dear, my mother invited us for New Year's Eve. Boris also decided to start a family. He'll be at the party with his fiancée. And my mom said she's preparing some surprise." "What kind of surprise?" "I have no idea. We'll find out soon." The time for celebrating the new year arrived. Elena and her husband went to his mother's house without delay. "Oh, Elena, come with me, I'll introduce you to the fiancée of my eldest son. You'll like her. She's a decent girl." Sitting at the table was a girl with heavy makeup on her face. "Hello," said Elena, "I'm the wife of your fiancé's brother." The girl, batting her heavy fake eyelashes, replied, "Natalia." She critically examined Elena from head to toe. "Now the brides have met," said the mother-in-law. "Now, let's call everyone to the table. Let's celebrate." The first toast was made for the farewell to the old year. Later, Mrs. Olga solemnly began, "My dear family, I have gathered you all at the festive table. Firstly, to introduce the new member of our family. Natalia, welcome to our close-knit family. So, I'll continue. I want to make a heartfelt surprise for the future family of my eldest son. And I'm sure you'll all support me in the rightness of my choice. I want to gift this 2-room apartment to Boris. Let them live happily and bring joy to me with grandchildren." The mother-in-law raised her glass and clinked it with everyone else's. But then Elena asked her a question. "Excuse me, Mrs. Olga, do you have another property besides this apartment?" "No. I only have this apartment," the mother-in-law replied calmly. "Where will you live if you're giving this apartment to your son?" It was evident that the mother-in-law didn't like this question. After hesitating a bit, she replied, "We've already discussed everything with the sons. Don't worry, I'll move in with you, and the eldest son will live here with Natalia." "You'll move in with us?" Elena asked again. The mother-in-law just nodded in agreement. "Yuri, what does this mean?" Elena asked. He reluctantly tore himself away from his plate. Oh, don't worry, I've already talked to Mom about everything. We have space in the second room, I don't see any problems. Let's talk about it later. Elena didn't intend to live in the same apartment with her mother-in-law just because she decided to transfer the apartment to her elder son. Understanding that she wouldn't get any action from Yuri, Elena decided not to wait but to clarify everything at once. Excuse me, Mrs. Olga, Yuri apparently forgot to discuss this question with me first. So, I disagree. You have your own accommodation, and I recommend you not to transfer ownership, as you will permanently lose the right to dispose of your property, and in case of a dispute with your son, you'll end up on the street. When Elena finished her speech, there was silence at the table. Natalia and Boris looked dissatisfied with Mrs. Olga, while she tried to turn Elena's words into a joke. Oh, come on, my dear, are you going to kick your husband's mother out onto the streets? I don't believe it, you don't have such a cruel heart. And anyway, don't spoil people's holiday, everything has already been decided. What are you talking about? Let me repeat it once more, if you didn't understand. If you transfer your apartment to Boris, you'll end up on the street. Let it sound harsh, but I want you to understand, you won't live with us. Live peacefully in your own apartment. Mrs. Olga started to reproach Elena, calling her greedy, hypocritical, and thoroughly fake. Yuri didn't say a word in defense of his wife. Elena stared at her husband, expecting even the slightest reaction, but then, with a heavy sigh, she stood up from the table and said, I have good news for you. Your younger son, and my future ex-husband, is moving back in with you. Not only is he managing my property behind my back, but he's also cowardly silent, not even attempting to defend me from your insults. That's why I'm filing for divorce. A month later, the divorce papers were in Elena's hands. Yuri moved back in with his mother. Mrs. Olga now tells everyone she meets about the treachery of her former daughter-in-law and how she, as a mother standing up for her son's interests, had to put the former fiancé in her place. That's why her younger son got divorced. And Boris never got married. Truly, cunning Elena.